Crisps with a crispier crunch than potato chips. You'll be back.
If you've seen one tarantula-wrangling pyromaniac hermaphrodite dwarf, you've seen them all, right? Wrong. That's why you need to watch Talk Soup. We're coming up next, right here on E!
From the next door.
Somehow I'd stepped on her.
I get depressed, maybe.
All right. Yeah. Cato's not available. All of a sudden, you're a fan. Yeah, I know what you people are like. Welcome back, everybody, to the exciting Talk Soup Studios. Another edition of Talk Soup, checking out all the highlights of the talk shows. I'm Roger Lodge, filling in for Mr. John Henson. But, you know, before we get started today, there is a little something that I kind of have to get it off my chest. Hey, finally, those acting classes starting to pay dividends. All right, coming up on the big show, folks, we got a Playboy bunny who comments on her boyfriend's bedside manner. And how about this? A man named Wartime looks for love. Plus, hey, a couple of limber poles. Actually, they first performed that trick in an Alabama roadhouse. Oh. Yeah, that's how they got their head shaped. That's how they got their head shaped. Try the veal. First up, everybody, in high school, James was a bit of a nerd. In grade school, James was a bit of a nerd. In kindergarten, well, that's when James was really cool, but nobody noticed, except for his girlfriend, Margaret. You see, she's known him since he was just a little nipper. And up next, Sally prepares to reunite these two. Now, keep this in mind, they haven't seen each other in 6 years. Take a look.
Kind of
on Little League.
He was Little League. We used to play Little League baseball together, and he had so much energy. He played like third base, but he'd be like all over the field catching the balls. Right. I can remember one time I ran to second, and I wasn't supposed to because it's a pop fly, and he tagged me back at first before I even got out there from third base. So he's just way too much energy.
Okay.
And
he was a bit of a bookworm, was he?
Yeah, well, he was sort of he had tentacles in every part of society, sort of like a little bit like a mafia boss. He had like nerdy friends and brainy friends and jock friends, and
that's probably what got him to become student body president.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, he kind of looks like the kind of guy who would wear, I don't know, maybe lipstick, some furs, and clown pants, to me.
I was always kind of interested in doing different things, and I was on this certain path. Actually, what it was when I was in high school, when I got to high school, I was supposed to join the Navy and all this stuff, but I got hit by a drunk driver when I was 16, and I'm physically incapable now of doing that. So it kind of made a change in me when that happened.
What are you doing now?
Well, I'm a rock and roll singer, I guess you say. I perform with a band called Jerk and another one called Calico 9. Mm-hmm. So I do rock and roll music. I own a vintage clothing store, and this is where I get my clothing and stuff.
Uncanny how I knew that, huh? The Navy's loss is rock and roll's gain, let's face that. Friday on Sally. Sonny, we hardly knew you. It's a loving tribute to the recently deceased Mr. Sonny Bono. All right, up next, Erik Estrada is still making the rounds, hyping his memoirs. Erik Estrada, My Rod from Harlem to Hollywood.
Road.
What?
Road.
Oh, I'm a little mistake. My Road from Harlem to Hollywood. Well, Punch may be getting a little bit of a punch these days, but he's still got what it takes to attract the chicks, let's face it, huh? And in fact, he can attract Space Ghost sidekick Maltar as well. Let's take a look at him in action.
Welcome to the show, citizen.
Thank you. Hi, Maltar.
You're the man! Woo-hoo! Yeah!
Gonna stand there all day?
I'm not hurting anything. Just talk.
Don't worry, I'll read your stupid questions.
You better.
Maltar's first question, well, it's not really a question. It just says, Maltar is your #1 fan.
Yeah, I know. We're buds.
You are the man.
Question 2.
Ooh.
Question 2 says, how do you handle the pressures of being an international sex symbol?
Ooh. How do I handle it? Well, you just have to just say, okay, thank you. I take that as a compliment.
Okay, thank you. I take that as a compliment.
And don't get offended by it, or don't think that gives you a license to practice sex with just anybody.
Okay.
Oh, the sounds of happiness fester in my brain.
Must have been a tropical location there where Erik was, huh? Those little poofy in the hair, humidity. Friday on Space Ghost, get to know yet another celebrity guest. That is, if they can get Estrada to stop mugging for the cameras and move things along. I'm one to talk on, look at that. What am I, Frankie Avalon? Jeez. Pete Townsend is the mastermind behind some of the most powerful and inspiring rock music ever recorded. As chief songwriter for the legendary Who, he penned a number of timeless classics, many that have yet to be featured in car commercials, which is a testament, let's face it, to the integrity of this gentle giant. I mean, we certainly didn't need to hear, hey, that deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure drives a mean Ford Taurus. We didn't need to hear that. Anyway, here's Pete telling Conan about the onstage accident that nearly cost him his strumming hand.
Roger and I used to do this, what we call downstage. You go to the edge of the stage, stand up there, and Roger would kind of go, I'm a man, I spell M, I spell A, I spell N, I spell A. How do you spell this, Pete? I'd be whirling my arm, kind of pretending to be one of them as well. And you got to, and they go, yeah, yeah. And what had happened is that the whammy bar had flipped from its forward position backwards, and I'd just gone into it. And I picked up the guitar, and it was hanging on my hand.
Oh, my God.
And kind of a moment of shock, so I just popped it out, and blood started to gush. So I left the stage and went and got it fixed. There was actually, quite seriously, there was a microsurgeon there that night who ran up and flushed it with saline solution for a couple of hours. Mm-hmm. And it was okay, but it could have been terrible.
Yeah, so it's literally, your hand was literally...
It's a dangerous job.
Yeah, but gosh, we sure had a great time back then. Yeah! Look at that look. Oh, my God, it looks like I just had the number 4 at Taco Bell. What am I doing? Oh, that's ridiculous. I sure miss touring with those guys. Friday on Conan, ladies and gentlemen, it's Huffamoose. Sounds kind of dangerous to me. First of all, how do you get the moose to stand still? Then you got to take it out to dinner. It gets expensive, too. Guess you'll have to tune in and find out. Actually, folks, they're a jazz band, and they're terrific. All right. Still to come, we've got a couple with a combined weight of over 1,200 pounds. Plus, Garth Brooks gives one of his fans the boot. And after this break, we've got some limber poles, and they're going to do their stuff.
I don't know who the hell Roger Lodge is, but at least he's not Joey Lawrence.
What does that have to do with anything? But thanks for watching. Welcome back. I'm Emmanuel Lewis. Now, I'm not sure what's going on in this home and family highlight. And, you know, I'm not sure if I want to know. Without a doubt, these Polish acrobats are extremely talented, but I just get a little uneasy, a little uncomfortable watching them. Why, you ask? We'll take a look at this home and family highlight and see if you can figure it out. let's hear it for the limber poles, huh? Terrific stuff. You know, one thing, though, my Cub Scout leader used to touch me like that. Oh. Take it from me, folks, never go hiking with a guy in a leotard. I wonder what happened to old Rodrigo. Friday on Home and Family, get to know Andy Lakey, a.k.a. the Angel Artist. He plans to create 2,000 angels by the year 2000. Ambitious goal. He must be killing people left and right. Okay, that Garth Brooks, let's face it, not only the most talented guy in the world, but he's also one heck of a nice guy. Sure, he's got the fancy shirts, the big bank account, the big hat, but he's still a man of the people. Maybe that's why his fans love him dearly, including me. Even when he's busy leaving boot marks on their bodies. Here's Jay Leno getting the goods from Garth.
We were doing Shameless in Pittsburgh, and there was a woman down there, and our stage is only 4.5 feet high, so people can rest on it. They can touch, and they can just be in the show. It brings us closer. This one woman, I guess we were too close. During Shameless, she was just pounding, just going and screaming. I thought, man, this is really doing it for this woman. You know, I was pretty fired up, just beaten, and I looked down, and somehow I had stepped on her. And it was
woman screaming for her.
Yeah. It was smashed between the grating and the booth. And I was embarrassed. Yeah. You know. And it was another 30 minutes before I moved from that spot, of course.
Yeah,
she did great.
And you put your shoe back on. And
Boy, that's one stage that was booby-trapped. Friday on The Tonight Show, an interview with actor John Lithgow. He'll be getting his third rocks off, talking about, well, whatever. That's Friday on Tonight. You know, it's getting so a young woman can't post nude in a magazine without people treating her like some kind of bimbo. But enough about me. We're here to discuss Sherry Konopsky. She's a former Playboy playmate who broke her back in 2 places during a horrible traffic accident. Well, here she is telling Lisa about her sleazeball husband's shocking lack of compassion.
Did he know that you were paralyzed?
He didn't care. I was laying in surgery the day after, 7 hours of back surgery, the day after my car wreck, and he was trying to convince my father that, well, if we have 3 signatures from immediate family members, we can force her into a nursing home.
Wow.
And he's still trying to do it. He took me to court twice, trying to get the judge to order me to an adult care facility, and I have the documentation on it.
And not only that, but thinking of his needs, his sexual needs, while you were in the hospital.
Our anniversary was April 8th, and he had the audacity to come in with this pitiful little pot of flowers, and his only concern was, well, what do I do with this catheter? Because he was going to mount me and satisfy himself, and I had to get the nurses to come in, and the nurse told him, she has 2 broken vertebrae, crushed ribs, she just had major surgery, you are not going to do anything to her out. I mean, that's the only thing and I'm telling him, what are you trying to do? Are you out of your mind?
Can you imagine?
He said, it's our anniversary, you owe me.
Oh!
Wow. Sherry has since left her husband and has now a restraining order against him. Friday on Lisa, are your children spoiled rotten? Well, if you're still wiping their butts at age 14, the answer would be yes. What about when you're 34? Well, that's older. Okay. Anyway, that's Friday on Lisa. We've got more Talk Soup ahead, including the saga of a man who's so overweight he can't even get out of bed. But first, a Montel guest named Wartime meets his secret admirer. This is Talk Soup. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back to Talk Soup, everybody. I'm Nipsey Russell, and I'm sitting in for John Henson. You know, back in the 70s, parents liked to give their kids usual names, names like Moon Unit or Sunshine or Destiny. Well, in this next highlight, you're going to meet a guy, and his name is Wartime.
Wartime?
That's right, Wartime. And he'll learn all about a secret admirer who wrote the Montel Williams Show, hoping to meet the armed conflict of her dreams. Now, here's Montel. This is terrific. Montel reading some highlights from the letter she sent.
This person admires you so much that over the period of a couple of weeks, they wrote a book about wartime. Full-size book. They said things like this. When they've seen you more than once, the first time this person saw you, you were dressed conservatively. Second time they saw you, you were dressed like a roughneck. Third time they saw you, you were dressed in Calvin Klein's. First time they saw you, your attitude seems to be unusually quiet. Second time they saw you, social. But the third time she saw you, she wrote, I feel it. Talked about his hair, she said, slightly stubbly. First time, clean and smooth the next time. Spanking and shiny the next time. His eyes, the first time, squinted, almost closed. The second time, dreamy. I'm seeing stars today. Third time, sexy. If he could bottle it, we'd be rich.
Mm-hmm. All right, Wartime. Let's meet the opposing forces. And remember, take no prisoners.
Come on out here, Dorothy. Come here. Dorothy? Wartime? Say hello to Dorothy.
Incoming! Wartime has agreed to go on a date with Dorothy as long as a neutral UN observer can accompany them. Friday on Montel, is there a fountain of youth? No, next topic. Actually, Montel is devoting a whole show to the subject, so, you know, maybe there is something to this whole Dick Clark thing. Time now to meet fitness guru Denise Austin. She calls herself a fitness guru because she's an expert on staying in shape. Okay. Also, she lives in an ashram and beats herself with a chain.
What?
Yikes. But that's not what we're here to talk about, folks. Here's Denise showing Crook and Chase how to stay in shape even while brushing their teeth.
How to stay in tone without taking that chunk of time away from you.
All right.
Okay, let's say you're brushing your teeth. Come on,
right,
guys.
we're brushing.
Brush your
brushing
teeth.
our
I'll
teeth.
get the hot pink one.
Okay.
Now, one of the best things to do while you're
How many of you brought your toothbrush
brush
today?
your teeth
Here so we can see.
is doing a button firmer. This
A
is
button
called
firmer.
the button firmer. Okay. All you have to
Wait
do
a
is
minute.
Yes, you do 5 of these a day, and you'll help firm and tone up the rear end. Do you want to look great from behind, Charlie?
Well-
We'll do this exercise. Okay.
Okay.
The next one is...
Now, what was that exercise again? Do it again.
Lift your buns.
while you're
work
brushing
that
your
leg.
teeth.
You're brushing your teeth,
Now
and you
squeeze
want...
your butt. Squeeze your butt. That's it. If you don't squeeze it, no one else will.
Ironically, Charlie tried squeezing Denise's butt during the commercial break, but was promptly arrested. Wow. Friday on Crook and Chase, musical guest Sylvia will be performing her hit, Whole Heat. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds like some butts might get squeezed, so hey, I'm into it. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
One last break, and then it's one last highlight, and then I can get back to my busboy shit. When we come back, words fail me, folks, so just watch.
Because all my weight is in the front of me and in my belly, she's going to help me to roll over. So just to get started, there's a lot on her.
Great day, bad cold.
Make friends for life with Whiskas.
Hi, I'm Elton John, and
I'm Veronica Webb.
And I'm Marla Maples.
And you're watching
the Entertainment Television.
All right, welcome back. You know, when your wife weighs 400 pounds and she's the thin one, that's a serious red flag. Jackie knows he has to change his eating habits, and he's reached out to Jerry Springer for help. This dangerously obese 37-year-old weighs in excess of 700 pounds. Here's a look at him now.
I get depressed and I'd eat.
Somebody that's overweight is in a lot of denial. And we tend to isolate ourselves. I tend to, like, shut myself off from the outside world.
We go on by changing the sheets, which is pretty rough because I can't turn by myself, so Ann's going to help me. Because all my weight is in the front of me and in my belly, she's going to help me to roll over. So just to get started is a lot on her. She's got to get me started, and then I can pretty much take over from there. We get by with this. It's getting old. I met Ann back in 1990. We went to dances together and held each other. Now it's even hard to do that.
The hardest thing for me about Jackie being in bed is that we used to be so active together.
I love her. I love her a lot. The easiest thing, the things that you would never think of. You ever comb my hair in the bathroom mirror? It's stuff that most people would take for granted, and it's the stuff that I'm looking forward to doing again.
Jackie and Ann are now in a Florida clinic receiving treatment for their obesity. Friday on Jerry Springer, guess what? I have a secret to tell you. I had to sleep with 3 E executives to get this villain gig, and they were all very kinky. Tomorrow on Talk Soup, ladies and gentlemen, hey, it's my family reunion.
Now, I really don't give a... I really don't care.
You're a whore.
I see they go...
Don't ever touch my child.
Becky, lay off the sauce, for God's sake. Well, that's it for today, everybody. I want to thank you for tuning in. John Henson will be back on the big weekend show, right? Guacamole time for you guys? That should be... Get a hold of yourself. I'll be back tomorrow, everybody. I can't wait. I know you can't either, so I will see you tomorrow.